Welcome back. As our focus was on World Rhino Day this week, a little bit earlier this week, a new feature documentary on South Africa's rhino poaching crisis called Stroop, which is Afrikaans for poach, will be released early next year. Now, a lady who's been at the forefront of rhino poaching, she's behind this film, and she's the 50/50 wildlife television presenter, Bonne de Bod, who joins us in studio this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
I've been told that you've been in court. That's why you couldn't come here earlier this week. An interesting case, and you can't say too much about it. What can you say?
Well, the criminal justice system plays such an important role in this current crisis. In the film, I'm following a couple of cases, but they are all happening right now. So I can't really say too much, and I don't want to jeopardize the cases. But a very interesting case. Judgment is reserved, and we are expecting the outcome in a couple of days. But as I said, I can't say too much at this stage, but you will be able to see it in Stroop.
Tell us a little bit about Stroop then, where you are, what will you be focusing on, what's the sort of big idea behind the documentary?
Stroop is a 90-minute feature documentary film looking at all the aspects around the rhino poaching crisis. You know, a lot of people ask me, what is the one thing that will save our rhinos? And the shocking truth is, there isn't just one thing. It's such a multi-layered problem and choices that have to be made coming out of it. So I want the people to feel when they have watched the film, walking out of it, that they can do something, that they've felt, they've seen, and they've gone on this journey with me, and they can now go out, they are empowered with the information that I've given them, and they can now go out to make their choices. It's really as simple as that.
750 rhinos gone this year, more than 1,000 last year, and that seems to be a steady increase almost every year. Are we losing this war?
There's no other way to say it. Rhino poaching is out of control. Even the head of Kruger's anti-poaching operations, Major General Huester, has said that up to 15 incursions enter the park on a daily basis. And unfortunately, public trust is faltering. If we look at statistics, and I think on International World Rhino Day, people took notice of the statistics. In 2009, 122 rhinos were poached. End of 2014, 1,215. And I was at the media press briefing where Minister Molewa said that we are sitting at 749 for 2015. Bearing in mind that was more than a month ago. So, of course, that number is now much higher. But also, Eben, having said that, I also know that when we are negative about the current crisis, it affects the rangers' morale desperately. And they are working so hard. They're putting their lives on the line. And I know these men and women fighting on the ground. So I hate being negative, but unfortunately, it is the case.
You have to look at the facts. It's a real war that's going on with the Kruger Park almost becoming a battlefield now. I read on World Rhino Day, the shocking thing is more than 500 poachers have been killed in the last 5 years in the Kruger Park alone, 82 of them this year. This is a war.
Absolutely, it is a war. Let's not fool ourselves. I think a lot of people want to say it's a campaign or it's a problem, it's a challenge. But we are fighting a war literally every day. I think if we look back in 10 years' time, this time around 2016 would probably be the turning point. Either we would have saved a species from extinction or we would have failed. It's bottom line.
The outlook isn't great, is it? And I'm just looking at other increases in poaching elsewhere around the continent, elephants and so forth. What are some of the other, let's call it poaching scourges that's starting to surface and concern you?
The ivory trade is absolutely shocking. I don't think many people know that it's funding terrorism. And if we look at the numbers, 96 elephants killed every single day in Africa. Every single day.
96.
96. So my question is, what is happening to us, humanity? We are going to strip the planet bare if we don't change within ourselves. That's my opinion.
There's always the overriding financial concern, and one can always lay all the ills of the world at the feet of capitalism, can't we? But I want to ask you about the Rhino Brief series that you're involved with. Just tell us quickly what you're doing.
The Rhino Brief is a series that myself and fellow filmmaker Susan Scott pitched to 50/50 as a fortnightly program, a quick roundup of what's happening with regards to rhino poaching. We were filming across the country for the film Stroop, and we just realized this information is just so important. We have to share it with the nation, you know, rather than waiting for the film to get released. But the series is very different. It is factual, it's newsy, it's definitely not a downer type of piece. And so we highlighted the heroes on the ground, the vets, the researchers, the scientists, you know, even, of course, the rhinos themselves. And because of the success of the Rhino Brief series, we now have an international series called Rhino Planet, due for release hopefully in Asian territories in 2016.
Well, Bonne, it's a fantastic job you guys are doing. Let's hope we can preserve this for future generations. But sometimes I don't think that human beings think like that. Only the special few like yourselves. But hopefully you can come back in the future, and once the documentary's out, and we can have a talk about the concepts in there. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
That's 50/50 wildlife television presenter Bonne de Bod. She, of course, is passionate about rhino poaching, the scourge that is rhino poaching. Well, did you know that 96 elephants are killed on the continent every single day? That was an interesting fact that you brought today. Just brought it home to me. Thank you once again.